welcome back to World History Official. How are you doing today? I hope you're all doing great. Today we're back to share to you some hidden knowledge that most people don't know about. Most of people out there will just swallow every single news from the media without questioning it. So in this video, we'll talk about it in details. I really hope that it could inspire and motivate you to find out the truth. Without any further ado, let's get to it.
Flat earthers acknowledge that, 1. Earth is not a sphere or an oblate spheroid. No one has ever proven that Earth curves. 2. Earth does not move. It is stationary. No one has ever proven that it spins. 3. The sun, moon, and stars are small local lights. They are not hundreds of thousands, or millions, or trillions of miles away. 4. Eclipses are not caused by Earth's shadow. 5. What they call planets are not spherical, faraway objects, but are more likely wandering stars. 6. Space, as we know it, is fake. Every mission by NASA, and every other space agency, is a hoax, and no object or person has ever left Earth's atmosphere. 7. Satellites are fake. No satellite is now, or has ever been, in orbit. GPS and cell data transmission are done by cables, tower triangulation, and bouncing signals off the ionosphere. 8. Stationary Earth can be proven by many simple and repeatable observations and experiments. Many everyday tools could not function if Earth were curved and spinning, for example the compass, gyroscope, radar and lighthouse. 9. The physical properties of water, specifically that it always seeks its level, prove that oceans do not curve, and oceans could not adhere to the outside of a spinning ball. 10. Gravity is a hoax. Rather, density and buoyancy govern how an object behaves in a given medium. 11. Antarctica is not an island located at the bottom of the globe. It is more likely an ice ring that extends around our realm. 12. An enclosure, called the dome or firmament, probably exists above our sky. Globe worshippers have a really hard time with this. When I post it, they reply that the Earth is bigger than an orange. Assuming we all understand that, allow me use this orange to illustrate that a sphere curves in all directions, no matter the size. If we can observe the horizon on the ocean to be perfectly straight for miles, then it's impossible for the Earth to be a sphere. No curve on the horizon, no curve between observer and horizon. I love this globe worshipper talking point, because it's so easily debunked. Globe defenders often bring up this time-honored meme: when a ship disappears on the horizon, it's going over the curve of the Earth. Never mind that you can bring that ship back into view with a powerful zoom lens. If we can bring it back into view, it's not behind a hill of water, is it? It's just moved out of our field of vision. Most globe defenders don't realize that if there's no curve on the horizon from left to right, like this, but there's a curve between the observer and the horizon, that would make a cylinder. They don't like this debunk, and they get mad and say, "I never said cylinder." But, that's the shape they're describing. Let me illustrate with a Coke can. Another reason the ship going over the curve doesn't work, is because globe worshipper like to say, you have to be really high, higher than any human can go, in order to see the curve. But then they say, you can see it with the naked eye on the ocean. But then, consistency can't be found in globe logic. Anyways, let me know how you respond to this globe talking point. Leave your answer in the comments. Many people let the 24/7 news cycle guide their thinking. They hate certain politicians, and love others. They get upset about the latest outrage. They might have patriotic feelings, or they might think their country is the bad guy, depending on the latest thought trends. They believe we put a man on the moon, and a rover on Mars. They believe youths with box cutters brought down the towers, NFL games are left totally to chance, and doctors lovingly inject patients with pathogens to make them healthy. They believe celebrities are regular people like you and me, they just turn their place with a little luck. Then, Flat Earth comes across their timeline. And they have to rethink all that. What do you mean the governments of the world are in collusion? They scream at me on Twitter. What do you mean we never went to the moon? What do you mean secret societies wield tremendous power? The reason governments lie is complex, and it prevents many from looking into Flat Earth. They can't figure out why the powerful would lie, so they assume Flat Earth is crazy, and don't look into it. But the answer is not so much about the details, since some are unknown and will remain unknown. It's more about opening your mind to the staged world in which we live, and seeing that world governments collaborate for their purposes. Ancient cosmologies. Globe Earth appeared on the scene relatively recently. For thousands of years, ancient cultures taught a flat Earth, with stars moving on a dome overhead. All major religions had their version of it. This agreed with what they observed, especially stargazers, who used sundials and astrolabes to predict movements of heavenly bodies, with 100% accuracy. Copernicus and the heliocentric model. In the 1500s, Copernicus theorized a rotating Earth, with the Sun in the center. Later the Vatican endorsed it, and the idea took hold. The scriptures teach a stationary Earth, but soon all authorities, sacred and secular, were pushing the spinning globe Earth. For all of human history, we knew Earth was flat and stationary. This model has the support of our own senses and ancient writings. But the globe took hold, and the psyop began. Soon a child would see a globe in every classroom. 1940s and 50s, discovery of the dome and ice wall. In the 1940s, the U.S. government attached cameras to rockets, and sent them high above the New Mexico desert. They captured images from 65 miles, or 100 kilometers. As you see, no curve detected. But, this is how they discovered the dome. Operations Dominic and Fishbowl. Shortly afterward, they began exploding bombs at high altitudes, in projects called Operation Dominic and Operation Fishbowl. Russia was doing the same thing. They were testing the limits of the dome. Operation High Jump. Around the same time, the US and others were sending teams to explore the Antarctic ice wall and beyond. What they discovered is a mystery. Many believe Admiral Byrd's report was a hoax. But whatever they found, compelled them to draft the Antarctica Treaty. All the powerful nations quickly signed the treaty, and they declared Antarctica a land for scientific study only. No one can own it, settle it, or use it for any other purpose. Confess the truth or double down? Having discovered the limits of the earth and sky, the government had a choice to make. Would they tell the truth, or double down? They doubled down. The space race began. The phony space race. People have a hard time understanding that Russia and the USA were in collusion on the whole space race hoax. Maybe they don't understand how ranks work, how they control the flow of information, so that only the people at the top of the pyramid know the truth. In 1957, Russia claimed to send a dog into orbit. Since it was before the days of public outrage over the fate of an animal, they made no plan for Laika's recovery, and claimed that she died painlessly in space 1 week later. How did they know it was painless? before anyone gets upset, like I probably lived to a ripe old age here on the ground, because Russia never sent anyone anywhere, dog or human. And neither did USA. But in keeping with Russia's publicity stunts, President Kennedy declared, we'd have a man on the moon by the end of the decade. So in 1969, Nixon sprang into action. He contacted Kubrick, and they faked the moon landing. The moon hoax deserves its own post, but suffice to say it helped drive the narrative of USA's dominance on the world stage. Space generates revenue. Today, space and space exploration is worth billions of dollars. NASA's budget is $18 billion annually. Hollywood and the military-industrial educational complex all participate. The idea of a vast universe invokes fear and awe, and aims to keep people living in fear of an asteroid strike or alien invasion. NASA has become the propaganda arm of the climate hoax industry, a form of fear-based mind control, where victims fear they've done something wrong to damage the Earth, and feel helpless because they can't stop others from doing what kills the polar bears, melts ice caps, causes hurricanes, etc. I have to mention secret societies here. Many balk at the idea of secret societies, but it's crucial to understand that membership in these clubs is common among the elite. It helps explain how powerful countries, like USA, Russia and China, though they seem to be at odds on certain issues, actually cooperate and conspire to maintain their power. Many people ask truthers, are China and Russia lying about their space programs too? The short answer is yes. If we know that wickedness dwells in high places, that people in power are willing to lie, cheat and steal, doesn't it follow that the leaders of other nations do this too? If NASA isn't able to recover a human from a rocket, but rather sends empty rockets into the ocean, why would Russia be any different? All nations lie about their space programs. Oh, and another thing, it's spiritual. The end result or goal of lying about the Earth is to discredit God. If the elites convince us we're an insignificant speck in a vast universe, with no God, and no purpose in life, they have created a fearful, ignorant populace, easy to control. We will look to government to save us, and will not resist, because there's nothing worth fighting for. Satan has control over all the kingdoms of the world, and he gives them to whomever he pleases. So the leaders of the world, whether aware of it or not, are merely puppets of Satan, doing his will. Thanks for watching. I know there's much more to say on this. I didn't even go into the Jesuits, Illuminati, etc. Those are topics for other posts, and one could spend a lifetime researching all the connections. But I hope this gives you a framework for understanding the government's concealment about the shape of the Earth.
And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me.